Hey guys, Jeef here with another tribe tier list. Since last time, many cards were added and removed, and the high rolliness of the new anomaly system made some tribes shine above the rest. Watch this video to find out exactly which tribes got way better and which tribes are unplayable. Starting off with our first F tier tribe, the worst tribe in the game are mechs. Many quests synergized with mechs extremely well, which is why it was good before, but now very few anomalies actually incentivizes you to play mechs. Playing mechs hinges on finding Drakari and then playing cards such as Scrap Sweeper, Utility Drone, Upbeat Duo, and Polarizing Beatboxer and Walking Fort. Without Drakari though, the tribe's basically a dead tribe with terrible scaling, and even with Drakari, you still need too many pieces that are on higher tavern tier. The other F tier tribe in the game are dragons. Dragons was already one of the worst tribes in the game during quest meta, and the last update somehow made them even worse by removing Dina and adding Warpwing. Promo Tarek is also no longer a build, and instead the only way you can possibly play dragons is with Caligo's brand, which is 1. Too hard to hit, and 2. Too slow even if you hit, and 3. Has like very little utility, so you still lose to Poison Scam. Moving on to the B tier, Quillbores went from the best tribe in the game to the third worst. The removal of Gem Splitter and Bristlemane Scrapsmith, which were gem generator powerhouses, was enough to make playing on Tavern 3 pretty difficult now. Because all the Quillbore scaling is actually now on Tavern 6, it's usually too hard to pick up that early Prickly Piper and scale your gems and then level to 6 because you're not guaranteed your 6-drop scaling engines. Prophet of the Boar being removed also was a huge blow to the tribe because that card was an extremely strong enabler for Quillbores. Nagas are also in the B tier. Nagas have not been changed for the last couple of patches and are in the exact same spot as the last two metas. Zesty Crooner is actually more viable in certain lobbies such as Double Header and Little League if you can get the deep blue early enough, but still not too common to pull off. Athissa's buff isn't enough to justify playing Nagas on Tavern 6, but once in a blue moon it's still okay. The final tribe in the B tier are actually demons. Demons moved up from the F tier because they got a significant buff with the reintroduction of Floating Watcher, which quickly became the staple of demons. Tychondrius and Urzel are still useless garbage, but now that you can hit Floating Watcher Malchazar combo on tier 4, your Floating Watcher can quickly scale to like a 100-100. However, even though this Tavern 4 strategy is nice, the tribe still lacks overall utility, which makes it too counterable by Poison Scam. Let's move on to the A tier. Staying in the A tier, we have Beasts. The comps are the same as before, where all the 6-drop beasts are pretty solid, and Banana Slamma is still a staple unit on Tavern 4. The only thing is that the beast tribe suffers from the immense high rolliness that a lot of anomalies bring, so maybe it's a little harder to get first with them than before, but still a very strong mid-range tribe. Moving up from the bottom to nearly the top, Undead also cemented themselves as a solid mid-range tribe. Thanks to introduction of cards such as Sore Loser and Champion of the Primus, Undead now have great mid-game and scaling to even more consistently top 4. Sister being reverted back to +1/+3 also makes it insane tempo when you get it as early as turn 7 or turn 8. The other really nice thing about Undead is Murgle is a complete powerhouse and covers Undead's weaknesses very nicely. Murgle is almost always in your final comp when you play Undead and gives the tribe a way to combat stats on 1 or 2 big units, because previously Undead had some trouble dealing with one massive unit. It can especially cheese fights that were otherwise unwinnable if they keep hitting the Murgle and it repeatedly gains back Reborn. I have lost to that a couple of times and it's pretty infuriating. Undead was probably the best tribe in the game when Champion of the Primus was still Avenged 2, but now that the scaling is relatively fair, and the tribe still loses to Sindori Straight Shot in the endgame, Undead is a solid A tier. Finally, in the top of the A tier are pirates. Pirate's identity is still mainly Tethys, and Peggy is still a great unit to splash into many builds. In this meta where a lot of times it's high roll or die roll, it's pretty easy to become infinite with 2 Tethys and a Bran, and then after you're infinite, the main skilling engines are Peggy, Underhanded Dealer, Boogie Monster, or Rock, whichever is offered to you first. And then all that's left is how good your APM is. Although pirates snowball extremely easily, the only problem is that pirates lack mid-game, and you might just roll over and die if your rolls aren't good enough to stabilize. Before we get into the final 2 tribes, just a short reminder to subscribe if you haven't already. I really want to push out more of these guides, and each one of your subscriptions will go a long way. The last 2 tribes on our list are miles above the rest of the tribe, but in my opinion, they're both so broken, it's hard to tell which one's the actual best tribe. I asked top streamers around Twitch to see what they thought the best tribe was, and I was honestly really split between the 2 answers. Murlocs, it turns out, is not the best tribe in the game. Although very strong, Murloc lacks the ability to consistently have infinite gold and sometimes will lose to the people with infinite money. However, Murlocs have everything else. Amazing scaling in multiple different ways. You can go for Bream Counter with Rylak Primalfin with Coral Murgler Endgame, or if you're on Tavern 6, you can go Murky Murkai, which is one of the most explosive scaling methods currently. In every scenario, don't forget the best card in the game, Base Skill, which has been the best card for like a year. The ability to scale and venomize a base skill and have it summon 1 or 2 more venomous from hand is just way too much utility that a card should have. Even if you have infinite money, most of the times you just put in a base skill anyways because of how overpowered it is. However, it's now time to talk about the tribe that was good, trash for a bit, and now insane again, and that tribe is Elementals. Everything the past few patches has been good for Elementals. Moving Wraith to 3 makes finding it so much easier, which enables the whole tribe in itself. Party Elemental is actually a solid scaling engine for the mid-game paired with Wraith, and sometimes you go for Carbonic Copy as well to stabilize now that's on Tavern 4. Elise being back makes finding Rock and Elemental Surprise way easier without having to level to Tavern 6 for them. And finally, Tavern Tempest being back was the final addition that Elementals needed to become the best tribe in the game. From my experience, only a Golden Wraith and 2 Gusty Trumpeters are enough to have infinite rolls and infinite gold, which isn't even that hard to achieve. Paired with Elise, you can just force your Rock scaling and outscale everyone in like 2 turns. Even without Rock, Bran paired with Emergent Flame gives a ton of stats too, especially if placed on a Carbonic Copy. And the tribe doesn't lack utility thanks to Elemental Surprise giving shields to your elementals, and also Transmuted Bramble Witch, which is just a very good unit for the endgame. And also with Rock, you can just scale any utility unit you want, like Warpwing or Foe Reaper, which is extremely nice. The final tier list looks like this. Murlocs have been S tier for the longest time, but there is always that one tribe that is a little bit overtuned and becomes slightly more overpowered than the tribe that's single-handedly carried by base skill. Overall, Anomalies incentivizes high rolling a bit more, which made some of the mid-range tribes worse than they normally might be. Special thanks to Beterbabbit also for helping me make the tier list as accurate as possible. He is also top 10 NA, so go check out his Twitch, linked in the description. In our next video, I'm going to go over one crucial tip for every single anomaly, so make sure that you subscribe so you don't miss that content. Also remember to like and comment if anything surprised you about this high MMR tier list. I want to know what you think. See you soon!